Bridges are stronger when built from both sides.
Let's connect.
Let's connect. In the middle.
Hello and welcome to Building Bridges, a show on the Greensboro Television Network that highlights ways members of the public and members of the Greensboro Police Department can connect with each other. I'm your host, Sandra Hughes. How many of you ride motorcycles? And if you do, the show will be of interest to you. How many of you watch and share the road with motorcycle enthusiasts? Then this show will be of interest to you too. Because motorcycle safety is for everyone, not just the people behind the handlebars, we're going to talk a lot about this topic today with guests. And joining me now are two officers with the Greensboro Police Department's motor unit, Sergeant Ben Altizer and Officer Matt Leahy, along with John and Tammy Colesnow, a married couple who enjoys hitting the open road on their bikes. Welcome to Building Bridges. Now, guests, let me start by asking each of you what you do and what kind of motorcycles you ride, where you go, and that kind of thing. Let's start with you.
My name is Sergeant Ben Altizer, and I'm the supervisor of the motorcycle unit for the police department. And I have been riding my entire life, and I ride a police electric glide at work, and I also have my own personal motorcycle that I ride a lot.
What's a police electric glide?
It's a model of Harley Davidson. Okay. There's really two models that Harley Davidson sells for law enforcement use. The electric glide is one of the models.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else you want us to know about what you do?
No, ma'am. I'm the supervisor of the unit, and I'm the lucky one that gets to ride with some fine police officers.
That sounds great. Let's go over to the other police officer and ask him. Tell us about your job with motorcycles.
Well, I work under Sergeant Altizer on the motor unit. We're tasked with doing neighborhood complaints for the city, and we get complaints from citizens. We go out and we work the complaints for them, whether it be speeding or traffic safety in the neighborhood, stop sign violations, that type of thing. I also do the stealth stats for our unit, which is a device we can put up that monitors speed for 96 hours, and we know when the problems are and when we can address them.
I see. Wow, it sounds like a busy job, doesn't it?
It is, yep. And then we also teach bike safe on either weekdays or weekends if we can get a full class for that as well.
We want to know more about that, but first let me go to Tammy. Tell us about your bike travels.
I'm a new rider.
Oh, okay.
I have only been riding about a year and a half, and my husband bought me a new Harley Davidson, and I'm learning to ride.
How do you like it?
I'm loving it.
Okay. Tell us why you're here today. What is it you want to make sure you say?
That everybody needs that class of Bike Safe. That was the most educational class I've ever been to, because I am a new rider. It's just educational, and you learn, and that's how you learn to be a better rider. And you watch these guys ride, and it helps me.
I'm sure.
And
it does.
they would ride behind you and tell you what you do right and what you do wrong.
Uh-oh, I better not get on a bike. So John, tell us about your experiences.
I was a little reluctant at first. He taught me into going because I'd been riding so many years, but I was so glad I did, and it turned out some buddies were there that had been riding for years as well. And we actually all agreed that we all learned something, and it was really hands-on, and all the officers were really personable.
So you're talking about going to the class, is that right?
Yeah.
When was that?
I'm not sure. A couple months ago.
It was December.
December.
So you think you learned more in the class than you naturally had been doing?
I learned a few tips that could save your life, essentially.
Well, that's important.
There's always something to learn. When you think you know it all, that's when you're going to get hurt. So they opened my eyes to a few things with their experiences.
Good. That's good.
I've been riding as long as they are older, if not longer, but they still taught me some things.
And
so,
that's important.
Yeah, my message to anybody watching that's maybe on the fence about going to it, I would highly recommend it. It's very informative.
That's good.
A lot of fun, too.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I tell you, just listening to you talking before, it sounds like fun. Why is riding a bike so different from riding a car?
Well, it's just there's many things, Sandra, that are different. Just the two wheels versus four in a car. You know, it's the balancing of a motorcycle on the road. It's exposure to the elements. It's it's watching obstacles in the roadway. Just something that would be a minor pothole for a car could really upset a motorcycle. It's being exposed to the rain, the heat, and the cold weather. There's a lot of. It's really a different skill set, and it takes. When driving a car, someone can merely just use really one foot for the brake and the gas, and just one hand, which we don't recommend on the steering wheel or a motorcycle. A lot of times you're using both arms and both feet simultaneously.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you gotta be up on
So
it.
it can be challenging.
So what happens when you see a brand new person on a bike, someone who's never been on a bike before? Is that kind of scary?
It can be, yes, because
can
motorcycles,
imagine.
they are dangerous,
Yeah.
just because of the lack of protection that a motorcycle affords.
What about some of the common causes of crashes? I mean, I know if I got on one right now, I'd crash immediately. But what makes you crash when you've never been on one before?
Just not knowing the controls a lot of times with the the clutch and the gas, and then the rear brake and the front brake. The brake systems act different. You get a lot of braking from the front of the front brake on the motorcycle compared to the back brake. That'll potentially save your life in a situation where you really need to lock down the brakes. If people don't understand downshifting, they can hurt themselves that way too. There's a lot that contributes to it. Letting off the clutch too fast, you can pull the bike right out from underneath you essentially.
Wow.
So yeah.
So give me a couple of common causes for bike crashes.
A lot that we see, and being on the road every day, my biggest concern is left-hand turns in front of us. People turning, left from oncoming traffic across our path, or coming from a parking lot out into traffic, turning left in front of us as well. They don't see a motorcycle because of the smaller size, and they will pull out. You got to keep your head on a swivel at all times. Make sure that person's going to stop and stay stopped.
So they could run right into you.
Yeah, or you could run right into the side of them if they come out the front.
I hate to ask this question, but I will, and let me ask you, do a lot of people get killed on motorcycles?
It's actually, I think, since the motorcycling has become more popular in the last decade and a half, statistically and nationally, we have seen an increase in the number of motorcycle fatalities. So yes, it is. It's very dangerous.
That's pretty scary.
It is.
John, let me ask you, what are some of the most dangerous experiences or situations you can get into on your motorcycle?
Watch out for the other guy. There's a lot of distractions these days with the electronics, and I think there might be a little lack in education over the years in drivers of cars and motorcycles too, for that matter. Weather conditions are a really big factor, like when it first starts raining, and the slick, the oil slick on the road, and that soap bubble that you see on the road, and little things like these guys mentioned in the class was what they call tar snakes, the little tar repairs that they put in the cracks, or get slick pretty quick, and wet leaves, blown grass out on the road, just numerous things. It's just endless. Like you said, you got to have your head on the swivel at all times.
All the time.
A lot of dangers.
Now, Tammy, you said in the last year started riding. What for you has been some of the most challenging situations?
People pulling out in front of me. That was one of them, and changing lanes over into me, and I had one guy to make a left-hand turn out in front of me.
Ooh.
I hadn't had it 2 weeks.
Wow. Now, how did you handle that?
Actually, he said I did good. He was behind me.
Oh,
so,
good.
I just swerved, and he went one way and I went the other way, and the car behind him was paying attention.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right.
Yeah. If someone came to you and said, Tammy, I'm thinking about riding a bike, never been on one before, what's the first thing you tell them they need to do?
If you've never ridden before, at least ride behind somebody first. But you need to practice before you get out on that road a little bit. And
practice.
That's all I can say. Get on some back roads and ride. That's the best thing to do before you get out into traffic, because back roads are much better.
John, you've been riding a while. So have you had any close calls?
Yeah. Yeah. People
Can you
look
tell us
right
about
at you
them?
and it's coming down a typical 2-lane road and a 18-wheeler just pulled up to a stop sign and looked right at me, looked both ways and pulled right out in front of me. And
Oh.
I had to lock down the wheels and swerve over to keep from getting trailered by his trailer. And I turned around and asked him what his problem was, and he said, I didn't see you, and he just looked right at me. That's the biggest thing, or that's the first thing that comes to mind. And people rear-ending you. That's really scary. You got to leave a way out. And these guys teach that. They're really avid about things like that, you know, looking ahead and looking behind.
So Sergeant Altizer, tell us, what are the 1 or 2 things that these people run into, and other people who are riding motorcycles, maybe the 1 or 2 most dangerous situations?
Well, we already spoke about a motorcyclist traveling in a vehicle turning left in front of the motorcycle, which a lot of times a motorcycle will crash in the side of a car. Well, and the second is because of the just the smaller profile of a motorcycle, vehicles merging in or changing lanes into a motorcycle rider. And like John said, the third most dangerous kind of collision we see involving motorcycles are rear-end collisions. Again, due to the smaller profile, people just are used to looking at the rear end of full-size vehicles versus a smaller statute motorcycle. So, like John said, and what we encourage is when a motorcycle is stopped at a traffic signal, they need to look in the mirrors behind them and plan an escape so that they're not rear-ended. You
know, it sounds to me like cars are, let me say, almost the bullies of motorcycle riders. And I know I've been in situations with a car driver, where they say, oh, he needs to get out of the way. So is it that cars think that they've got more rights on the road than motorcycles?
I don't know if they think they have more rights. I just think that they're less frequently encountered, and I think people aren't really educated as far as how to really just pay attention and look for that small motorcycle. And it could be in conjunction with a little bit of impatience. Oh, yes. Also, as we're all aware of.
So I hear John say, about the impatience out there. What's a word of advice to motorists, people who are in a car driving, when they see a motorcycle rider?
I would say not just with motorcycles, but just in general, pay attention. That's the big thing. Remove any distractions, and as you know, there are numerous, from the air conditioning or the heating controllers to cell phones are a biggie, and children. There's just, you know, driving a vehicle is a huge responsibility, as we all know, and just paying attention and being aware of your surroundings. And I think if someone does that, then I think that would make it safer for not only other drivers, but particularly motorcyclists.
Now, let me ask you, you're on a motorcycle for the Greensboro Police Department. Do you run into accidents that involve motorcycle riders?
Absolutely. We just had one last week where we were on Eastgate City Boulevard at Murrow Boulevard, where a car merged into the lane and struck the driver, and he was actually ejected from the bike about 25, 30 feet.
Oh, ouch.
He had small amount of injury due to his protective gear he was wearing, but he was still ejected from the motorcycle. The motorcycle ended up in oncoming traffic, and thank God he landed on the half on the median and half in his lane that he was still in. So if he had gone to the opposite side of the road, I fear it could have been a lot worse.
So do you run into crashes where the motorcycle rider or driver is just not prepared? Maybe they're not wearing the right equipment or whatever?
Yeah, equipment is key when you're riding a motorcycle. You know, it could save your life. It could save your life.
Name what you're talking about.
Well, we have seen in the past, you know, people I've seen it, flip-flops, shorts, and T-shirts riding down the road on a motorcycle.
Ouch.
And that is not going to save your skin when you're sliding across the asphalt at, 30 miles an hour.
That hurts to hear it.
Yeah, I've seen the aftermath of it too, and it's not pretty.
But they all wear helmets, don't they?
You are supposed to wear a DOT certified helmet in North Carolina, and some people wear a helmet, it's not DOT certified. So, yeah.
And so that's not good.
Correct.
Okay. Are you up to date, Tammy, with all of your equipment and what you should wear? You probably wouldn't wear a short sleeve shirt on a motorcycle.
No. Well, I might in the summer.
But, okay.
But I always wear jeans, and I've always got boots on, and I wear gloves at all times.
John, and you've been doing it a long time. What's your outfit like?
Well, I, to be honest, I'm not good at wearing a DOT helmet, but sometimes I do, or most of the time I do, and I'm pretty good about putting my leather on. And I'd like to echo his talking about rear end collisions a minute ago. I worked fire and EMS in Georgia for a good while, and the worst collisions were rear end collisions. And every time I get on the bike, I think about that stat that I've noticed personally is rear end collisions really. But yeah, gear is essential.
Well, you all have given us a lot to think about. Now, the last time I was on a motorcycle was 1970 or so, and I got off real quick because I could see that I was not prepared to be there. So keep those experiences in mind, my viewers, because when we come back, we'll share ways to make you safer as you ride. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Building Bridges, a monthly show that brings together police and the community members to make our city safer. I'm your host, Sandra Hughes. Now, before the break, we talked about some of the challenges and rewards of riding a motorcycle. Now, I've heard each of you stress the importance of safety. Most of this is about safety, right? So what role does equipment play when we've talked about, crashes and all that. What about the equipment?
The equipment's paramount. I mean, it's incredibly important because like how we dress for our daily operations, we dress for the crash. Now we don't anticipate and we hope we don't crash, but we plan if we do crash that we are at least afforded the maximum protection that we can possibly dress ourselves with.
Are you talking about your uniform here?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what.
Well, it's everything from the boots. These.
Can you see the boots? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold your foot up there a little higher. There we go. There we go.
Yes, ma'am. Well, these, in the event of a crash and we're sliding on the asphalt, will protect our lower legs from road rash. And I don't know if you can tell, but these pants are very thick
May
and
I?
durable. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, that's thick stuff there.
Yes, we wear this, and we have our helmets and jackets, and even our jackets have armor in them, if you will, which are devices implanted in the elbows and the shoulder blades, and they're really hard plastic is what they are. And that's in the event we do impact the ground, that acts as a buffer and lessen the injury. And then, of course, helmet, which
now
is...
I see different helmets here. What's that about?
Yes, ma'am. Well, these are really the three most common styles of helmets. And these are obviously ones that we wear at work, but these are the three most common styles available to motorcyclists. And it just goes from varying levels of protection, from, I would say, the least to the most.
Okay. Have you ever been in a crash?
I've been lucky enough not to be in a crash.
Oh.
Yep.
Which one of these do you wear?
I actually wear the center 3/4 helmet, which is right here.
Well, why that one over the other two?
The one closest to you is a mod helmet or a modular full face helmet, which you can actually raise the front of it up to talk to drivers. There's actually a button underneath where the chin would be, down near, yep, right there. Can you feel? There it is, right there, and that'll actually slide up. So you can.
All right. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, driver.
So that's going to offer your most protection on that one. It is very inconvenient when we're stopping cars, trying to talk to people, putting it up and down. They sometimes will release and fall on you. So
What about that second one that
yeah,
you
we wear this one right here, which is the 3/4 helmet. This is going to offer you a lot of protection for your head. It's a little less for your face. You will get hit in the face with road debris or anything like that, occasionally. We do wear safety glasses with the helmet as well. So, and then this is one of our older helmets that used to be worn, which is a half helmet, and this is going to offer your least protection for your head.
So are you still wearing those?
We don't wear these anymore. Okay. We all wear these currently.
I see. Okay, Tammy, anything like this that you wear?
I have the big full face helmet, and then I have a half helmet. I have both, depending on the weather and how far I'm riding, which one I wear.
Okay, John?
I wear the half helmet. I like the wind in my face and the bugs in my teeth.
Good grief. And I bet you get them too when we're driving.
Oh yeah, I could tell you some bug stories, that's for sure.
Okay. Now tell us about you, officer. Do you wear one of these?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Well, I ride professionally at work, and I ride my own personal motorcycle.
I see.
Now, at work, like Officer Leahy said, I wear the center helmet, which is the 3/4. And for our operations, we ride so frequently that there's a lot of advantages to the center in that it covers a lot more of the neck and the side of the face in the event of an impact. Now, when I'm riding my personal motorcycle, I do wear a half helmet, but it still meets the DOT standards. You'll see what they call novelty helmets that aren't certified through the Department of Transportation. But I at least at minimum wear a DOT approved helmet.
Give me this one. I want my whole head and everything
Yes,
covered.
ma'am, and that's also good for longer rides. It's it really encapsulates you and less fatiguing, less wind noise in the event you rain, because I'm telling you, rain is really painful on your face.
I can imagine.
It is.
Now you showed me the boots and the thick material in your clothing. Have you ever fallen off a motorcycle?
I fell yesterday in training.
So does it work? Is it
does.
helping you?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Okay, so you don't have any scars to show us today?
Fortunately
huh?
not.
Okay. Tammy, and you brought some gloves. What about those?
Yes, these are something that when I'm riding a motorcycle, I wear gloves 100% of the time. And the reason being is when you fall, the first thing you naturally do is place your hands in front of you. And these will certainly save the skin on your hands.
Tearing up your hands.
Absolutely.
Tammy, I see you holding a jacket over there. Is that something you wear?
Yeah, this is my riding jacket. It's all leather, and that's, and it's got, for summertime, you've got zippers in it to give you air, so that, if you get hot, you can zip it up to give you more air.
So if you fall off your bike and you've got that on, does that keep from injuring some of your skin or something?
I sure hope so.
I haven't done it yet.
I haven't failed yet, but we'll see.
John, is that going to help her?
Yeah, absolutely. That's good thick leather.
Okay, do you have one?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right.
All the
Okay,
time.
now I want to know about the course that you teach. I want to know start by telling me what the course is about.
Well, Bike Safe is a program that's put on by the head department for it is actually the Highway Patrol here in North Carolina. And they started it and have been running it for years. Our department puts on classes along with the Highway Patrol. We bring in motor officers from all over the state. Whoever can help on these classes will come. We'll go help them in turn. We come in and do a short classroom session. We show videos on people making improper passes on motorcycles, and then motorcyclists causing their own accidents as well, because riding a motorcycle, where you look is where you're going to end up. So we do that. We walk through all safety things like jackets and wearing vibrant colors and showing them the difference in sight. We do sight angles on turns, on sweeping turns. And then once we're done with the classroom portion, we go for a half an hour ride with the students, and we try to pair it one motor officer per student. Sometimes you'll get 2 motor officers per student, which is you get even more feedback. Yeah. And we'll go for a half an hour ride. When we come back, we'll typically go to lunch. You can have lunch with a motor officer. Sometimes the state agrees to pay for the lunch, and we'll cater the lunch for everyone. And then we go for an hour ride after lunch, and we go out for for the long ride. We take them on highways and back windy roads to give them a difference in riding abilities, and just to help them see where they can improve on their riding. And then we come back and we talk to them and we tell them everything that we saw, what they could do to improve on their abilities. And we also do an online, we fill out a form online telling them as well, so that way they can actually have a physical piece of paper that says what they can work on in case they forget something we told them.
Are you getting a good response with this program?
I think we are. And that's one thing about motorcyclists is they're passionate people, and anytime and we found like John alluded to, some people think, well, I've been riding for 30 plus years. What am I going to learn?
What do I need? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then when we bring up folks into these courses, they really take something away from that. And I think in that regard, the response has been really great.
How often do you have this course?
We, as a Greensboro Police Department, we are hosting five events this year. And we're always available to do more. If we have a group of folks that say, hey, listen, we like what you guys are teaching, would you be willing to put on a class for us? And absolutely, that's just scheduled classes. So it's pretty easy to get a hold of us. And then we support other agencies such as the Sheriff's Office here in Guilford County and other local police departments.
Do you charge people for the course?
No, ma'am. This class is absolutely free of charge.
That's wonderful. Is it a day, 2 days?
It's 1 day.
1 day. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
John, what did you learn? You took the class. What did you learn? Even though you've been riding forever, right?
Yeah, 40-some years.
That's forever.
One thing we talked about, and it really I agreed with, because from past experience, was if you get a gut feeling about not riding, don't ride. Go with your gut. That was my biggest thing, and they kind of echoed that. One of the things was they touched on was actually new to me, and I hadn't thought about, was the tar snakes I talked about earlier. One of the things that I'd never thought of was if you're in question as to whether somebody's going to pull out in front of you or something, was to turn your headlight a little bit to get their attention, to get it to reflect differently. A couple little things like that I'd never thought of, and like I said earlier, that one little thing could save your life.
Exactly, exactly. Have you been to the class, Tammy?
Yes.
What was most important about it to you?
Was them riding behind me, telling me what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong.
Okay.
They did it in an old fashion that, because me being a new rider, there were things I don't know. And I just thought it was, personally, I think everybody should be required to take it. If you've had your license for 30 days, I think you should have to take it so that you can learn what you do right, what you do wrong.
Maybe some of the things you never thought of before.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because there were things I never thought about that we went through gravel, and he said, you hit that just right, which I saw it ahead. I knew how to go through it and slow down and like that. I just thought it was an extremely good class.
That's
extremely
great.
good.
That's great. Do you get some kind of certificate or something?
Yeah, at the end you can actually print it offline, and some insurance companies will actually give you a discount on your motorcycle insurance too. Yeah.
That is
Yep.
wonderful. What is it you said your insurance company does?
Yeah, I changed from Georgia, because we haven't been married that long. I just changed everything from Georgia up here, and I got new, North Carolina insurance, and they give me a discount on it because of that certificate. I actually faxed it to them, and they give me a break on the insurance.
That's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, that was great.
That's real good. One of the other things that we haven't talked about that maybe we don't have time to talk about today is cyclists who have a rider with them, and maybe that rider doesn't know anything about motorcycles. Do you face that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, I would not recommend anyone that has especially a new rider, to even entertain the idea of riding a passenger, because it changes the whole balance dynamics of a motorcycle. And also, a passenger takes an active role in piloting the motorcycle, if you will. And it's things such as, especially in parking lots, you don't want your passenger moving, because that could change the balance point of the motorcycle and cause you to tip over. And certainly, as you've always heard, and when in the turns, that you want the passenger not to fight and lean against it, right?
Stop. Because I was telling y'all earlier, that's what I did. My husband got a motorcycle, and when he turned the corner and leaned this way, then I'd lean the other way, thinking that I was helping him balance and keeping. And he finally one day stopped and said, "Listen, don't do that." He said, "Just go with me. Just go with me. Don't do your own thing." Because I was handling the bike from behind him, and he said we were about to kill each other. So, okay, so I won't do that anymore.
But certainly, the passenger, especially if they're a new rider, they need to be educated on what their role is as a passenger on a motorcycle.
And so, do you handle any of that in your course?
No, we don't really touch on riding passengers. We just mainly focus on the operator of the motorcycle.
So, what's your recommendation for taking passengers?
we've actually had some people come through with a passenger, even though we don't hit on it. We do have some people, if they want to come and ride as a passenger, that they have that ability to do it. But like Sergeant Altizer said, education before you have a passenger on your bike. You talk to the passenger about what their role is before they get on and you start riding.
That's why I haven't been on a bike since then. My husband said I was too dangerous for
He
him
didn't
to
educate you.
carry. No, he didn't.
So,
And
we'll blame it on him.
yeah, I blame it on him, because from that point on, he left me at home. He says, no, you're not going to ride with me anymore. So, all right. 1 or 2 last words you'd like to tell our viewers about motorcycles.
Wow, there's so many things I could touch on, but prepare for the crash. Ride. Obviously, we hope we never crash.
Right.
But ride as if you're going to be in a crash. It means wearing the appropriate attire. Educate yourself. Take some courses, and just never let your guard down while riding a motorcycle. It requires your unmitigated attention constantly.
So people don't have to take your course, right?
They don't have to, no.
So they can just go buy a motorcycle, get on it, and take off. Is that right?
As long as they have their permit or endorsement, that they can.
Are you happy about that?
I would like to see them take a safety course before they,
Just take off.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
But-
what I learned from my father, and we just got on and went, and I wish I had taken a course beforehand, so.
Because I'm sure there are plenty of cyclists out there that are just on their own.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I see the ones sometimes that scare me that are going through traffic like this. And I'm thinking, oh my, let me just slow down and stop before I hit one of them. Anything you'd like to tell new riders?
New rider, take the safety course. Take any kind of class that you can get. Don't just go get your license. Any kind of class you can get, whether it be bike safe or anything else, you need that for the education to learn and to learn how to be a defensive driver.
Okay. John, any words from you?
I second what she said. Only further would be, it's a good time. It's fun.
It sounds like it. I've
That's
heard
true.
people talk about what a good time it is.
The officers really just made it really interesting, and it's an entertaining thing to go do as well. So why not?
It sounds great.
Yeah.
One more thing. How can people find out about Bike Safe?
If you don't mind, Officer Leahy's actually our departmental coordinator,
Okay.
and he could speak best to that.
Sure.
Yeah, if they want to just use a search engine on their computer, they can Google, or however you want to find it, but just put in NC for North Carolina and then Bike Safe, and it'll pull up, and then they can go on and they can go into the calendar and look when different departments have dates. And if you want to take it more than once, you can take it here in Guilford County, then go up to the mountains and take it. So it's free anywhere you want to take it in the state.
It sounds great. I think about those curves in the mountains. Please take the course. That's well, thank you all very much for being here today. You've made me feel better about it. Who knows? I might try it one more time before I give it up completely. Won't be with my husband because he won't ride with me anymore. So it's going to have to get an officer. Or Tammy, you promised to take me out.
I'll take you.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to get this thing going. I am so thankful to all of you for stressing the safety and the importance of motorcycle safety, because even if we're not on one, we're in the same roadway with people who are on cycles. You've taught me that whether you drive something or you're just watching or whatever, you gotta be safe, and I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your stories and for all the tips you've given our public today. If you ride a motorcycle, I encourage you to take the Bike Safe course. The skills you learn could just save your life and a lot of people around you. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Sandra Hughes. Be safe.
This show was funded in part by the Greensboro Police Foundation, an independent nonprofit organization whose mission is to enhance Greensboro's economic strength by promoting the safest city possible for its residents, workers, and visitors through support of the Greensboro Police Department. For more information about the Greensboro Police Foundation, visit www.greensboropolicefoundation.org.